turn those things around. This is a very, very pertinent topic in the scheme of things, as the Secretary Sir also talked about. And I'm really glad to have a wonderful set of panelists who can cover all basics and hopefully have a very interactive session with all of you. We of course have Mr. Lakshman sir from the government side to give the overall perspective of the vision. And then we have the players who have done it from whether it's the public sector, from the Kochi shipyard and all private sectors, as well as the global view which Mr. President will bring to the table. So without any further ado, I will jump into this discussion. We'll try to have a couple of rounds of panel discussions. And then hopefully we can keep some time, over 15 minutes or so, for some Q&A. I'm sure there will be quite a few questions which you might be wanting to discuss as well. So right, so I will jump into it, and then straight away I will probably bring Lakshman sir come to you. We heard Secretary Sir talk about the broader Amrit Bharat vision, the criticality of ESG and sustainability and how the focus has been. And there's been so much focus on specific guidelines, whether it's SAGAR or ECOM. Could you give us a little more deeper insight into the specifics of the vision and how you are actually looking to take this down and then take it forward?
Thank you for the question. I think the Secretary should have articulated the larger vision that the government is committed to. Like if we break it up sectorally, to start with the inland waters, that we've come up with the Harit Nauka guideline. So this essentially is a policy document which kind of lays out the roadmap for the inland water green transition. With the objective that by 2047 all the vessels on inland waters will be green. So that is the larger target. But where are we today? What are we doing? And we are looking at close to 5,000 vessels over the next 7 to 10 years time span. So that is the immediate thing that we are looking at. And we are looking at vessels which are electric as one of the primary means of greening. And second prominent thing which is coming out is the hydrogen fuel cell based ferries, where we have had the first ferry which was very recently flagged off by our honorable PM. In terms of electric, Kochi Water Network has taken the lead, and the next couple of vessels are in the National Waterway 1, Ganga, and we are looking at a strong pipeline. In terms of hydrogen fuel cell, like the first ferry has come, but we are looking at replicating it in 5 cities across the country. With 5 vessels in each city, so that we have a small ecosystem to understand how things operate, how company operates. So we have reached out to the other stakeholders like the oil marketing companies and others who can supply the fuel and who have the country, so that we are tying up the ecosystem together. And third on this, that we are looking at methanol engines and methanol fuel ferries or vessels. So we are in advanced stages of coming up with a pilot and probably partnering with the industry for the methanol engine development. And solar hybrid, that's again a key thing which we are looking at in the inland waterway space, so which has a lot of potential that already has been deployed in certain states, especially with focus on tourism. So this is happening on inland waterway space. Coming to the shipping, already we have sanctioned 2 methanol engine retrofits with SAI doing it. But going forward, we are looking at a larger, ship building support, and within that, green has a predominant focus. Whereas the greener vessels have a higher policy support in terms of 20% for electric power and 30% financial support for the other hydrogen methanol powered kind of fuel powered vessels. And we are also actively looking at setting up a maritime sectoral development fund. So this is of course the initial stages, it is kind of a concept stage. We are actively working on it, but we are hopeful that in the months to come we will be able to put this together, which will will provide a big visit to the overall shipbuilding with focus on the greening. So that's a big push that we are working towards. And on the port side, the vision is very clear. We have already come up with the, had started guidelines which talks about greening of ports in terms of their own energy use, their own emissions, and so on. And also supporting the green ammonia and green hydrogen push that India is, making. So already like 3 ports are leading this. Equivalent is in the forefront, where we launched it as the first hydrogen hub port in India, with a lot of associated facilities coming up there. And similarly, like Paradip Port already, has applied for environmental clearance for setting up a dedicated hydrogen export or a handling berth. And state government of Odisha is supporting by allotting land for production facilities in and around the port vicinity. Similarly, like Kandla Port is running an expression of interest process where many of you have participated, and it is in advanced stages of the land being allotted and other associated infrastructure coming up there. So on all the 3 fronts, port, shipping, and waterways, there is a very clear-cut long-term vision for moving towards the green transition.
Great, thank you, sir. And that really helps to kind of put light to that vision, right? It's not just about a broad statement of saying we want to be carbon neutral, etc. It really shows that the government is thinking around very specific actionable areas which you just talked about, right? And just taking up one of those key actionable areas that probably coming to you, Mr. Nair, on that is of course the whole electric ferries and the hydrogen fuel ferries, etc., which have been of course in the news of the wonderful work we have been doing. But how do you see, whether it's this technology or other technologies, how do you see this scaling up? What else do you believe is required as part of the ecosystem to really help scale up to the scale that you are talking about?
Thank you. And I think Mr. Lakshman has brought out the salient features that how we are trying to evolve this ecosystem. As was mentioned, as Secretary has briefly mentioned, it's very clear that the future would be multi-fuel. And multi-fuel, again, the type of vessel. So we are talking story kind of operation, extremely near ocean, short sea, and high sea. So these are going to be in different buckets. So your question like the hydrogen fuel cell vessel and how we are going to scale it up. It follows the hydrogen fuel cell vessel which Roshin has recently launched, which was in the news recently. It follows it's a very significant milestone in it that it was about technology demonstration. And the difference here is this fuel cell which has been used, and it's not just about Roshin, it's about teaming up in India, which is also something which we are trying to see because we are talking about the whole ecosystem. It's again very clear that just like it's going from multi-fuels, it's also going to be interdisciplinary. Hereafter, I don't think one company or one shipyard or one player is going to do it. It's not possible. So unless we are ready to team up and team up successfully, nothing can be prepared. So what this particular vessel, the significance is not just from the technology point of view, but it's clearly like ours has teamed up with a company like KPIT, which is a global Indian multinational company, and it's not a manufacturer, it's a tech company, it's an Indian tech company in automobile mobility space globally. The India Classification Society is coming. The gas suppliers, we don't know how to handle gas, but a gas supplier is coming. Safety standards, safety systems, the regulators are coming. So the kind of multidisciplinary approach that is useful in this field, and it's an all-Indian know-how, including the core IP rights of the fuel cell is with the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. So it's a CSIR technology coming to KPIT. So what we were wanting to say is that there was a common feel that these things, while we do things in India, we are also wanting to, we are all talking with proven and established players like Ballard from Canada. This is also being discussed. So So we will see multiple type of technologies, multiple type of teaming up this happening. So when we are now talking about how do we scale this up, there are two parts here. One is about the policies and a subtle nudge from the government of what we want over a period of time. You can't do this very fast. So the industry at large sees what is the sense of that. We make an investment towards it. Second one is, will it be all pervading, will everyone move into this? It's a clear case of people will move into it, the industry, private sector will move into it, if it's commercially viable. So that commercial viability is not just on the technology and on the vessel, which as a technologist I can say, when people say 5-10 years, I feel it's less than 3 years. We will be there. We will be there and we will be very, very competitive. Competitive in India, competitive with the rest of the world. The second part is the energy, the gas, the hydrogen. And that, again, the confidence is coming from the fact that some of the names, Reliance, Larsen & Toubro, Adani, Indian Oil Corporation, HPCL, NTPC, BPCL, everyone. 8 of those top big-time players committing big time. There have been various figures of hydrogen that we talked about. People are talking about $1 a kg. I would be fine if we see $3 a kg, and I think it's actually possible. The kind of electrolyzers that's coming up. So when we see $3 a kg, and when we see the vessels, the pricing, that is what I am talking about, then the question point. Then hydrogen would be all over again. But what is the timeline? We can all have our views on this, but then my take is we're talking around 5 years. Something like that, we would see this happen. But again, is it just hydrogen? It's not just hydrogen. We need to talk parallelly, and methanol is the closest one which we're talking, and Mr. Lakshman had briefly mentioned, and it's very important that we actually drive this methanol engine. If it's in the Inland Waterways that the coastal one, the smaller, the mid-sized engine, we converted to methanol, so there are good companies who are wanting and keen, and the framework will come in. Ammonia will be a little bit more down the line, but again, LNG and right now battery. So we will see a set of vessels which will be battery electric, which could be even LNG batteries, we could see methanol, we could see hydrogen, but all of this in a few numbers. So as was briefly mentioned, if you can see about 15 hydrogen vessels in India in the let's say next 12 odd years, 3 years time, I think that should be good. That will set the limit because people want to touch and feel before they take the next step forward.
Wonderful, Mr. Nair. Thank you for that, and putting in the specifics of what is required. And like you said, it's not just one place, the ecosystem, and focus needs to be the development of ecosystem and interdisciplinary and teaming up. And speaking of teaming up, maybe this question has come to you, right? I mean, it's not just about having the know-how within India, which is so very critical, but also how you bring about the knowledge which others have, and with the India-Norway partnership which is there, and Norway being at forefront of many of these initiatives. How do you see that partnership evolving? Could you shed some light on what is being about specifically on the green aspects of it?
Thank you for the question. Good morning, everyone. So, the key by saying that we've been working on electrification and future fuels and digitalization for decades now, and we are also the leader in battery electric propulsion in this short space. And there are two main reasons why we have been able to achieve that position that we have today as far as technology is concerned, and also the development of the ecosystem. One is, of course, the innovation capabilities that we have. We're a small country. We're used to share. We are a very transparent society. We have also very transparent collaboration across industry, research, government. So that's a good starting point, right? That sort of enables and facilitates innovation and enables to have the solutions coming. at the end of the day. The second thing is that we are a very transparent economy, so we are very, let's say, transparent in the sense that we have a lot of, there's no threshold for collaboration internationally. So when we, for example, I come from the oil and gas industry out in the subsea space, and when Norway discovered oil and gas outside on the Norwegian continental shelf, we didn't have the offshore technologies. We sourced it from the US, right? So they brought the technologies to Norway. We opened up and imported a lot of their services, their equipment, their technologies, and now we have emerged as the world leader in subsea space, in the oil and the offshore space. So these are the two, let's say, repeating the two main reasons. I think we are really now evolving, developing a very strong, firm collaboration with India, especially in the green shipping space. And we have already very good references and projects that really showcases that. And I assume many of you have heard of, this electric autonomous vessels that were built, delivered by Cochin Shipyard to Norwegian ship owners. I think that's a very good win-win kind of example that we have produced together, and very happy to see that there are more projects coming into Indian shipyards, where, of course, the Indian shipyard capacity is really, we're taking advantage of that, but we also, at the same time, we're also transferring the technology and bringing in the, very top suppliers to the projects, and really sort of making Indian shipyards more competitive, I would say. So we need to take advantage of these good stories, and we need to communicate them. And I think also, given that we also have a lot of good collaboration in the green energy space, like in renewable energy and in hydrogen, I think we also there, we need to sort of break down silos and look towards sort of industries that have an interface with the green shipping space, right? Because if we are talking about, let's say, electrification of the short sea space, it's good to have like shore power, but it doesn't make any sense if the energy is produced through coal. So we need more renewable energy and more electrolyzers coming in to produce the future fuels like hydrogen and ammonia. So I would say that let's continue the dialogues that we have both on a G2G level, but also on the government side. Let's continue to facilitate the dialogues on the industry level. So there's where the passion is, right? So we can only from our side facilitate, and I think we are doing it quite well together with the Minister of Port Shipping and Waterways, as well as also with the DG Shipping in Mumbai. So I think just to add also to what we said, I think that on the policy side, we're also having a lot of good conversations that we also discussed before we step up here in our own morning session in the meeting room. It's extremely important for us to get that knowledge out to the world also, because if we can, duplicate policies, of course, there's always some tweaking that needs to be done, because India needs also independent solutions. But I think that we have a lot to share, and it's already there for free. So it's all about that. Thank you.
Thank you, and we as well as happy on some of those topics here. Right. But yeah, I mean, one of the elements, of course, is also the technology aspect which you touched upon, everyone touched upon, right? And we have a chief technology officer in the room, right? We have so it would be good to pick your brain on, from a sustainability and green shipping perspective, how do you see the technology evolving both from the private sector and an overall ecosystem, and how do you see that landscape supporting this whole journey?
First of all, it's an honor to be part of the 15th panel here. Thank you, Dhruv. While we are talking shipping here, but I'll take a larger landscape and say shipping and logistics, because they go hand in hand. And a lot of shipping is related to what happens on the land side. So there are three different aspects in which most of the innovation and technology is working on.
The first aspect, obviously, is the scope one reduction in scope one emissions, where you electrify or whatever is legal to do. So whether it is the equipment, whether it is the automatic vehicles, or whether it is ship-to-shore power, automated moving systems, and so on and so forth. One of the innovations which Rizwan mentioned in this line was the automated stacking solution, and which is being currently piloted in some of the countries in the Middle East and Korea. Now that's a very big innovation that is going to add a lot of effects. The second aspect is the scope 2 emissions, where we people have been talking about wind power, solar energy, but there is also some interesting work happening around wave energy, where it is believed that some of the geography, some of the seas provide enough wave electrical power. But that could be harvested. So there's a lot of work happening around scope 2 emissions. But I believe that the biggest innovation will be around the digitalization space. What is happening is that inefficiency in our systems is creating a lot of extraordinary carbon footprint. To take an example, one container would take about 2.5 liters of diesel. Now, if that can be reduced to 1 liter of diesel or 1.5 liters of diesel, just simple efficiency to built in. The average waiting time at our ports for a truck is 3 to 4 hours. Can that be reduced? So these are aspects where efficiency and digitalization will play an important role in reducing the scope of emissions. If we can do just-in-time kind of delivery of cargo, or if we can provide even the waiting time for ship can be reduced, then you will automatically start seeing reduction in cost. There are trade platforms, and the government of India has launched a pilot which helps achieve growth. Rizwan also mentioned something about the multimodal transport. That's another aspect where using technology, if you can do multimodal transportation, then you'll be able to provide the least carbon footprint-based movement. Finally, the advent of IoT and 5G. Now, while everyone is talking about 5G, one of the use cases for 5G is going to be using sensors, etc., to reduce inefficiency. So you will have fuel sensors, you will have tire pressure monitoring sensors, which will help reduce fuel consumption. You will also go slowly into digital twins for terminal operations, port operations, where you will be able to monitor, and what you monitor you measure, and what you measure you manage. So you will start monitoring, measuring, and managing your operations more effectively. So these are some of the aspects which I think from a technology point of view, which are going to take center stage.
Thank you so much for shedding light on the whole and again, now coming to you, Mr. Hitesh, from a very port-centric perspective as well. We talked a lot about shipping, but we also like your views on the port-centric aspect. The ESG is high on the agenda, carbon neutrality, etc. What are the kind of specific initiatives which ports like yours are looking to take to really move up on that front?
Thanks, bro. Hi, everyone. So, rightly said, so ESG is really high on our agenda, and we try to ensure that how we internalize all the ESG parameters into each and every employee of our organization. Every person in my source follows his life at work as well as worker life beyond it. We won't have that comparison. Specifically, internally we have this ESG strategy and ESG framework, we call it our world. That strategy specifically talks about all the ESG parameters that we try to monitor, measure, improve upon with ESG targets for short term and long term. And few of the key targets that we have taken are obviously on the greening of energy, with the plan being for carbon neutral by 2040 and carbon net zero by 2050, and intermediate target of 28% reduction against the baseline by 2030. And we have been trying to green all the operations. Few of the key aspects being how do we electrify most of our port equipment, right from RTGs to T-cranes to material handling equipment, and then how do we source that electricity from green sources. It can be in-house solar panels that we have kind of installed at all the locations. We have just gone into a power purchase agreement for 2 of our terminals at Mumbai, So very soon we'll start getting green power for 2 terminals, which would kind of replace 75% of the gray electricity that we have. So similarly, we are trying to work on all of those things. And along with this green energy, we are also working on other aspects of sustainability and ESG, right from employee well-being to safety, and also the other softer aspects like air emissions. Reduction of soft box, particulate matters and things like that. Keep measuring those and how do we kind of eliminate, minimize all of those so that people working at our facilities, communities around, visitors and partners coming to our facilities, they are having minimal environmental impact. So those would be few of those.
Thank you. So, what you heard, I think, from the forum was a lot about what we are looking to do and in various directions with specific or the technical level. I think the next few days I'd like to talk about how we are doing it, right? And really, I'll come back to you. I think there's a lot about ecosystem development, what specific areas are trying to do. How is the having the involvement of private sector and also incentivizing it, right? I talked about the ecosystem needs to be there, it's not just one shape there, right? So how are you looking at incentivizing and making sure that the entire private sector kind of works on this way?
So that's important. Essentially, like, we work as partners in the industry. So in our journey, we post like that has been clearly demonstrated and one of the successful models that is there for advanced in terms of the public-private partnership. And so moving along those lines, like in terms of even the inland waterways, like what we're talking about in terms of green inland water vessels. So essentially, like we are kind of developing a framework for all aspects of the ecosystem, like starting from vessel design, the shoreside infrastructure, the transit-oriented development. So all of these pieces. So once we develop this framework, we are looking at supporting it with appropriate funding, but essentially the implementation will be in partnership with the industry. So there is a huge opportunity for the people who are building such vessels to participate in this journey. And also we are looking at transport operators who can own and kind of run these vessels in partnership with the state governments. So state government are also an essential piece of this ecosystem. So we are looking at passenger transport as well as cargo transport and tourism. So three pieces we are looking at. Essentially in all of this, there is a big role for the industry to play. And similarly, like when we talk about shipping, primarily, ship ownership, that's one space we are, keen on supporting. There are a lot of initiatives in the pipeline, which I mentioned in the previous one. And also, like, making India in terms of the shipyards, the shipbuilding. So that's the space, again, where already there is a, running shipbuilding financial assistance policy, which has a, higher incentivization for, greener vessel shipbuilding. But apart from this, we have recently had industry dialogue on the issues around financing of ship ownership as well as like issues around shipbuilding and shipyards. So a lot of takeaways have come through from that discussion. So we are working on those. One of the key things which I mentioned was the Maritime Development Fund, MDF, that is going to be one of the key things that we are trying to put it across. And we have looked at countries like Norway, Korea, Japan, the ecosystems there, and what are the missing pieces in terms of support to the industry. For example, there is a buyer default cover, or there is an issue of a vendor default. So these are key things which actually are missing, and probably like that cover is given. Then probably like even the financing institutions are still not fully like participating in financing the vessels. Especially because of the infra-status issue that also we are working upon with the Ministry of Finance. So there are a lot of things which are, we are trying to put it together so that we have the ecosystem right and it is competitive globally so that we are able to build for India and build for the world. And On the same lines, like, the Outer Harbour project which recently got, sanctioned for Tuticorin, that again is going to be, PPP basis. And the other one, big one, which is, in pipeline for sanction, which is in Maharashtra. So a lot of these projects and one, the Alkia Bay, these are the bigger projects which are, lined up. So essentially, all of these, is going to be in partnership with the industry.
Great, thank you, sir. Thank you for, shedding light on some initiatives which the government is taking in different forums. Sir, I will come to you again, right? In terms of, you being at the forefront of this technology and innovation. It will be wonderful to understand from you, how the journey has been in terms of the collaboration, right? And what would be learning for not just your sector, but sector as a whole, in terms of technology collaboration globally or internally. To share the light on that.
So that's a very important point, and part of that I touched upon on the hydrogen accelerator and what we are trying to collaborate with various partners within the country. But just to intervene, there is a very, very important part without which nothing would move forward, whatever we talk. A few points, a few examples I would like to bring out. One, I just want to inform that we are currently the autonomous vessel project. Now, we have taken our internal funding approvals. We are approaching the government to try and see whether a part of that can be taken by the government as already initiating. But at the end of the day, what we are talking is autonomous auto vessels, end-to-end technologies, source code held within the country. Can we do it alone? We can't. So the framework is that we as a platform integrator, we are actually collaborating with at least 2 labs of the DRDO. We have 2 of the Indian Institutes of Technology involved. There is one leading IT major in India. There is a classification society involved, and then there are 7 startups involved. So I just want to say that this is how we actually even configured this particular model. And all going well, 24 months from now, we'll actually have this vessel. So this vessel would again be proving quite a lot of technologies. And it's not, at the end of the day, it's not building that vessel. When we're doing this, all these technologies will get niche. Because we are bringing in autonomy and insights already available in the automotive space, so we are trying to bring that into this. So this is the kind of interdisciplinary aspect which we are trying to do. Another aspect in shipping is we touched upon the Green Card Transition Program. So Green Card Transition Program, we are teaming up with one of the final designers from Canada. We are building upon it. That design, because it's not just something which is just good for the rest of the world which is working in India, so we are building upon it. There are at least 7 ports involved, and detailed involvement in the port. There are at least 2 leading private operators, and Bakshi, Jay Bakshi taking next to us that we are trying to get involved. The technology part, because when the Green Card Transition Program happens, you need electric, you need batteries, big time. So we are talking to people like Exide, Amagaraja, and others. So this entire ecosystem is trying to be developed. And on one side, when we are doing this part, the others also, the other shipyards also trying to work. The government is backing it up with a policy and a little bit of a nudge that this must be implemented, and a little bit of a support that you do this, this kind of funding and support coming in. This is the ecosystem that's working. Third example is we have deployed a startup funding program. The initial purpose we are putting in 50 crore rupees. Again, we are very clear that we don't want to pick and choose this. So IIT Madras is one of our underwriting partners, and the Institute of Management who have got something called IMK Live. It's an accelerator, so we're going through them. And again, I want to, Yashwan is here. I always say this thing that because many people think that APSU is an extended arm of the government. If you use an extended arm of the government from various points of view, but the PSU is a standing corporate. And for us, we don't have money to give out as charity or as grant because we are a commercial organization. But so within this entire 50 crore corpus, the initial corpus, at least 60% of this is earmarked for equity investment. And we have actually got now an initial round of companies, and this is in the maritime space. So what I was just trying to bring out is, without agile startup, small companies which could actually be holding some core aspects, some large organization which has got global experience, international partners, this is the way to move forward. This is within the country. And just want to touch up internationally, Christian, good friends, the way Cochin Shipyard, I just want to bring out what Cochin has tried to do with Norway. It's been now 22 years. Last 22 years, more than 150 organizations in Norway, and we have interacted. We've done more than 35 projects, and as we are speaking, at least 15 projects that's ongoing. And from the past and what we are trying to do today, into the new energy space, new technologies, digitalization, we are strongly involved. And this again works on collaboration. See, Norway has got something called Innovation Norway across the world, and we were the first few companies in India which would receive this Innovation Norway, what we call it, these groupings of 10 or 12 companies which will come for a sort of a Bharat Darshan kind of a thing. We would watch them, we would interact with them, and this is actually led to a lot of insights. And it's not a one-way traffic, it's a two-way traffic. So this kind of involvement, today we are doing this with Norway, the new National Center of Excellence that's come up in Surrey. We feel now the National Center of Excellence can be the core fulcrum to team up with various countries. Denmark, we are trying to team up. Denmark is already involved, Netherlands, Germany is trying to do something. So I think interdisciplinary model, a little bit of knowledge transfer within the country and international.
Thanks so much for shedding light in such detail to kind of get that perspective of what all nuts and bolts are being put together to have initiatives of this nature, which is from core sustainability, which is dedicated at the forefront right now, and so new technologies being involved in. And talking about the knowledge discussion, etc. Mr. Christian, I'll quickly come to you. Historically we talked about knowledge transfer. Right? I think now more importantly we are talking about knowledge exchange. Right? So in specific, what type of knowledge exchange areas you find very promising when it comes to green shipping, green ports, with India and Norway, and for that matter, if there are any other global examples.
Well, thank you again for a good question. I think Madhu partly answered the question. Of course, we already have a lot of interesting collaboration in technologies and even business models in electrification and future fuels and digitalization, autonomy. But I think what is very promising, what I really like to see these days is how we're communicating with both the industry and the government when it comes to facilitation of having, bring this sort of cluster mindset to India. And we had a delegation to Norway last year. It was in June when we were together in Norway, where we actually visited these so-called clusters that are not clusters on paper, these are actually physical clusters, port areas, industrial areas, where different players across the value chain, both share the cost for the infrastructure, but also work very transparently. I think there we have still a lot to share, and government has been very proactive and has sort of started that work. I think now we need to bring more industries or industrial players to Norway, and we also need to bring the Norwegian players to India to actually see the opportunities that are here to partner with other parts of the value chain. So I think there we have definitely something to scale. The second thing is I would say funding mechanisms. I think that there's a lot of funding available. We just need to structure this in an adequate way, so we can incentivize the industry, and we can also, lower the bar for execution of pilot projects and, and then subsequently larger projects. So I would say the cluster mindset and the cluster, systems that we have in Norway, and the funding mechanisms, I think these are two areas where we still have a lot of potential. So, but I'm quite sure that we will get there. We're already starting.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Kristen, and quickly, Mr. Manish Kamesha, right? It would be great also to understand from from the private side perspective as well, as Mr. Narayan talked about, is that what are the kind of specific initiatives which you are looking at, and from what kind of support area you will start the ecosystem, not just the government, but the partners to also provide for that kind of program.
Yeah. So, if you look at inward looking, so there are a couple of initiatives like electrification of all our diesel equipment. That's the low-hanging fruit. But we are also looking at from a policy framework perspective that going in the future, all our equipment will only be electric. So that takes care of it. Besides that, I think what Hitesh mentioned, we also have signed an agreement with the Kandla Port, PPA agreement for wind power. The idea is to get into more such kind of agreements. So that's from a inward looking point of view. But if I go a step ahead from an ecosystem point of view, we're talking with a lot of our customers to try and create a green truck environment for the long haul and as well as the short haul. And that just doesn't mean electrification, but also going into the details of how the battery life can be improved. That's an important aspect because we don't want to keep charging the battery again and again. So that's the second aspect. The third aspect which I spoke about briefly was the digitalization aspect, where efficiency the system to reduce wastage. While we work with the government of India for the Sagar Setu project, I'm also happy to advise that we work with the government of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Mawani Post, for creating an ecosystem, a digital ecosystem which they currently use for bringing efficiency into their ecosystem. So their fuel wastage gets reduced drastically. JMOC has also gone ahead and created what we say science-based targets. So we are the first logistics company to be validated our science-based targets for reduction of scope 1 and 2 emissions by 50% in the next 10 years, and scope 3 emissions by 70% in the same time frame. So we are the first Indian company to have been validated by the Science-Based Target Association. So those are the various aspects that we've been working on. Besides, the other low-hanging fruits are all our warehouses are by default have solar power panels. So there are no more aluminum, no more asbestos, nothing, just solar power. So those are simple aspects which we have been doing.
And thanks, Mr. Manish, for shedding light on the specific initiatives which companies like you are also undertaking to take that journey. And I need to start you look at HSC as a product. There is an ESG, of course. HSC is also very, very critical component and for both as well. So how do you look at the trends shaping up on that, on the HSC aspect? Because having a sustainable health future to the title, HSC becomes a very core to that. So how do you see that shaping up?
So, rightly said, so we are looking at technology, digitalization, how to kind of foster a culture of innovation and utilize all of these aspects to improve SSC angle as well. So obviously, large part of these overlap with sustainability that individual goes without saying. The second S, again, once we optimize all of these operations using automation and everything, it also helps big time in safety of people. Right? For example, we are trying AGVs at our Dubai terminal. In case those are successful, we take away all the unsafe behaviors of 100, 200, 500 truckers who are running the trucks, and we are only dependent on the wisdom of the truck operator. He might be cheating, he might not have good speed, whatsoever. So we are trying to utilize all of these technology, digital, I think we spoke about, to improve our HSE parameters all along. Similarly, for example, we couple of times spoke, Rizwan spoke, Manish spoke about the highway story that we are trying at South Korea. Now, once that is completely successful, in the single unit, it would reduce 350,000 moves, unproductive moves of taking the container. Now, just imagine once we are removing all of those unproductive moves, we are ensuring the well-being of people, safety of people, then obviously reduce energy consumption, becoming the operations more environment friendly. So, those would be few.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Yeah, so, and thank you for the entire panel to be, very crisp in their answers, to give us time for, some audience questions as well. So I now open the floor for any audience questions. Yes.
This is my question to Mr. Lakshmanan. I am actually from the So, starting to learn that the first hydrogen fuel vessel has been launched with Cochin Shipyard. What are the plans for the next 1 year? How many more hydrogen fuel vessels can we see being launched?
So currently, after this first vessel, we are looking at, sanctioning few more vessels for NW1. So I think maybe in a couple of months we should have the orders for the next 4 or 5 vessels. So whatever is the production cycle time, I think CSL can come in. So that's the immediate pipeline that we are looking at.
Excuse me.
Yeah, good afternoon everyone. Myself is Tushar Agarwal and I'm in steel supplying by the range in Coca metals. I just want briefing about how an entrepreneur like R goes into affiliated industry like steel and make a venture, and which industry or which government sector to touch fast for the reconciliation information to get on board of this green shipping and ship vessel making. If anyone can take my question.
I think one touch point could be DG Shipping, who is the Director General of Shipping. So they are the model for running this current, ship business financial assistance policy. So I think their website has details, they have a nodal officer for running this program. That is, one, and Cochin Shipyard is, one of the leading players in this segment. So you could also be of help.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have also a question for Mr. Lakshmanan. This is with respect to the sustainability of the cost of shipping operations. Like all the raw materials and exports what we move to our country, as per the National Logistics Policy, our logistics cost is in double digits, that is 14 to 15%, which we strive to bring to 8 to 9%. That there is a whole cost. Now for that, I think the maximum goods movement is through roads, still not by rail and shipping. Now, if shipping share is increased, perhaps logistic cost can be increased. So can you give us an idea that how much is the extent of movement we are doing by ships or maritime operations and as compared to rail and road, what cost effects are there, and any other initiatives government is taking in this regard?
So, the primary objective of National Logistics Policy is what we stated. So this is a multi-sectoral approach which has elements of rail, elements of road, and elements of maritime or water. So within the government, the overall portions like how efficient can the roads be and how less costly can the road transport be. That is one aspect which government is working on. Second is how can the share of railways go up, because that is cheaper as compared to the roads. So there's a lot of investment going into that as well. And third is like the water transport, of course, the cheapest of the three. Currently, we are at 5 to 6% of modal share. And we are looking at
Present load, what's the present load, what we are spending and what we are?
present is 5 to 6%.
5 to 6% only.
Yeah. that is right.
And this is the cheapest one. We are, I'm told, one
See,
medium size to 1 ton of goods is to sell it by rail, road, this one. The ratio is somewhere 2.5, 2 rupees and 1 rupee.
There are different data points, of course, relatively cheapest. So, there are a lot of efforts to, improve it. For example, if you go back a few years, this was hardly like 2 to 3%. So currently, we are kind of double that. And we're looking at further doubling it and taking it to 12% maybe in the long term. So this is the, overall target that we have. And in terms of promoting coastal shipping, so we are looking at a, DGF kind of a model where we can promote coastal shipping, which is, being put together. And in terms of promoting cargo in the waterways, in the last, I think 5 years, we are seeing a CAGR of around 20%. So there is a, consistent effort in terms of improving the fairway, building more riverine terminals, and partnering with private and improving the waterway operations for cargo. Especially like currently we are running a couple of processes. One for the Maharashtra waterways, where there is a PPP, bid which is floated for Amba and Narmada Creek, couple of ones, and we are preparing a DPR for developing the NW64 and NW5, which is currently in the Talcher industrial belt to Kargil and Dhamra port.
Yeah.
So currently DPR is under this. So in this project, we are pushing it. Maybe it may take 6 more months for us to sanction it and come to the market. So these are, some of the specific initiatives that we have, but the larger, objective and target is like, to take it at 5-6% to 12%.
Thank you, sir. Just last question I think we have.
So, my question to Mr. Nair. Mr. Nair, congratulations first for putting up India's first hydrogen fuel vessel in the shipyard. In fact, it is aligned with the international effort. As we know, the first ethanol fuel vessel has just sailed out from Ulsan. So this shows India's commitment to net zero efforts globally beyond. So my question to you is, sir, whether this boat will be continuously on fuel cell location or just for a pilot test, and then what is the source of your hydrogen?
The vessel will be continuously on fuel cell. It's got, technically it's got 5 cylinders which can store 350 or it can store 40 kilograms of hydrogen, and that is good for 8 hours run. The vessel is going to be deployed, the first vessel will be deployed after about a month of operational data collection and processing will be deployed in Varna. So the vessel is fully hydrogen, and it's got batteries, but then there is nothing else on there. There is no diesel, there is no generator on the ship. Now, both the fuel has come from, right now the fuel is just sourced from hydrogen suppliers, but, and it's a temporary cassette-based arrangement, but in Varanasi, the intent is to have one of the leading energy suppliers to deliver green hydrogen, produce at source with an electrolyzer.
Thank you, Mr. Nair. And I'm sure there are a few more questions, but I think in the interest of time, we will now bring the session to the close. I think some of the members will be around, so please feel free to reach out to them. Thank you again to all the panelists.